Hey guys, this is Narissa and welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another Instant Pot recipe video. I'm so excited to share this video today because it is a one-pot Instant Pot full meal, and two, it's an easy classic meatloaf recipe that people new to using an Instant Pot will really appreciate because it's difficult to get started, and this is the perfect recipe for that. And three, making meatloaf in the Instant Pot compared to the oven results in a meatloaf that isn't dry. So that is amazing in itself. So I am sharing with you the classic recipe that I like, and I will link a variation of it below. So you will need your favorite meatloaf recipe, and then you will also need two trivets. You will need a very shallow trivet and then a taller trivet. And if you don't have those, I will find some on Amazon and link those below too. So before you get started, don't forget to wash your hands really well and take off your rings. So I have 1.5 pounds of ground meat. I'm actually using ground venison. You can use any type of ground meat that you like. So I have 1.5 pounds of my ground meat in the bowl. I've added my 1 egg, 3/4 cups of Italian breadcrumbs. I've also added 1 1/4 teaspoons of salt and 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. I added 3/4 cup of milk, and now I'm adding my onion, which is about 3/4 cup as well. You can add more or less onion, however much you prefer. I add a little bit of extra onion just because I am using ground venison. And then I'm going to add about a tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce. And with your extremely clean hands, mix up your meatloaf mixture to the point where it is just combined because you don't want to over mix it. So now I am just using one of my trivets that came with the Instant Pot to use as sort of a form for my meatloaf aluminum foil boat that I am making here. So I tore off a large piece of aluminum foil and then I'm just sort of folding it in on itself in the shape of the trivet so that I can have an idea how big to make the meatloaf. So once I got that all formed, I'm going to spray the aluminum foil with some cooking spray just so we don't have any meatloaf sticking to the aluminum foil. And then we are going to dump our meatloaf into our aluminum foil boat. So gently pour it in, and then you can use a spatula to press it into your boat and get it nice and even. Alright, so set your meatloaf aside and grab a small bowl because now we're going to make the topping for the meatloaf, which in my opinion is the best part. So you're going to need about 2 tablespoons of brown sugar and 1/3 cup of ketchup, and then also 1 tablespoon of mustard. And mix that all together to form your meatloaf topping. Now you can double this because again, I think this is the best part. I also wish I would have added a little more brown sugar to make it a little sweeter. So give it a taste and decide whether or not you need to add or take away some brown sugar. So now that we have our topping all spread on top of our meatloaf, we are going to fold up this meatloaf like a present. Now the reason we are doing this because the Instant Pot does create a lot of steam inside during the pressure cooking process. So we don't want all that steam to drip into the meatloaf. So we're gonna cover it up as best we can without squishing the topping and the meatloaf, and just wrap it up in a little present, and we will be. Don't be worried about making this perfect. I didn't, or I don't, and it turns out fine every time. Now you want to take your meatloaf boat out of your little trivet mold there and set that aside. And go ahead and grab your pot out of the Instant Pot. Now we are going to add 1 cup of water to the bottom of the pot, and then the trivet that came with your pot, or at least the one that came with my Instant Pot, that has the handles on it. And we're going to put 2 nice clean potatoes, russet potatoes I used, in the bottom of the Instant Pot. Now I started to put the trivet that I had used as the mold in there and realized that's not the one that I wanted. I wanted the taller trivet that had the little rivets on the bottom that fit securely on top of the other trivet. So I put that in and then put my meatloaf boat on top of that. Now you go ahead and put your pot into your Instant Pot. So now my meatloaf boat was a little tall for the Instant Pot, so I had to push it down just a little bit in order to get the lid on. So you want to make sure that your foil doesn't interfere with your lid or your spout there. So I turned my pressure gauge to ceiling, and then press the pressure cook button and take your time down or up to 30 minutes and set it and forget it. So once your 30 minutes is up, you want to do at least a 10-minute natural pressure release. Then once that happens, you can flip your valve over to venting, and your easy Instant Pot meatloaf 1-pot meal is done. So I have made these little hooks out of just some plain wire in order to get my trivets and things out of the Instant Pot. So there's my little design right there if you would like to use it. So I pulled the whole stack out of the Instant Pot, and then we're going to separate the trivets and get the meatloaf on a cooling rack so that we can open it up and cut it up and plate it. You guys, this is seriously the easiest and best meatloaf. Cooking meatloaf in the Instant Pot is the way to go. In the oven, if you were to bake this, it would take over an hour. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons and leave me a comment below to let me know. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!